Good morning. Happy Friday. A couple things I want to share with you. A couple updates, you understand. It's been an interesting week, to say the least. But we are grateful, you understand. Um, Today marks roughly a month of being here at Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico. And I want to provide an update um, just on my actual true impression after the the brand new car smell has kind of worn off. The Alaska PTSD seems to be in retreat. So of course, we're grateful for that. But in regards to just kind of how life is at Canon, once you've been here for a short little minute, a month, give or take, I'm still kind of with the same impressions of the area. I've traveled quite a bit since I've been here. I've hit Amarillo, which is roughly an hour and a half away. I've hit Albuquerque, which is about 3 hours away, which is the largest city in New Mexico that I'm aware of. Population around 300,000 or 500,000, something like that. I've also been to Lubbock, which is usually the city you go to when you need something. When you need to get out of Clovis, you go to Lubbock, which is about an hour away, hour and a half. And that's where they have the Best Buys, the malls, the amenities that you may not have here in Clovis, New Mexico, which is the nearest normal. It's the military town right outside the base, basically. So, with my few little travels and kind of really getting immersed into this region, this area, this military community, it's not bad. Still, I have yet to see what is so bad about this area. Obviously, I have fresh perspective after leaving Alaska, and after suffering that winter. I come here grateful, which is might be my flawed perspective that I bring to Canon, because obviously you have some people that have been here for 5-6 years plus. This is their only base. They've never deployed, or they can't get orders out of here somehow. I don't prescribe to those limitations. I plan on being out of here probably in a year and a half. So we'll see. But again, I'm searching far and wide, high and low, trying to find what is so bad about Canon. I don't know. I personally love how flat it is. I'm a huge fan of Texas, as far as just the color of the concrete, for one. That's my weird quirk. But how flat it is, being able to see the horizon, not being surrounded by trees all the time, in terms of living in DC, where there was trees everywhere and then those buildings everywhere, and then it was just congested. All these people crammed in this one little area. That takes a toll on you after a while. The traffic in DC was overwhelming at times. So to come here and there's no traffic, I live about 5-10 minutes from work, and I can test that every single morning. It's the same. It's consistent. The weather is beautiful. Obviously, we deal with hell here, so that's something that you have to address, as far as whether or not you might walk out the next morning to a busted windshield. I'm kind of anticipating that happening soon, so of course I'm taking precautions surrounding that. Wish I had a garage, but we don't, so we're dealing with that. I do suggest, if you're moving here, possibly try to get a garage, or at least a covering for where you park your car. You might not be able to get it, but I mean, there's plenty of apartment complexes that have that. As far as just coverings over your car. The heat will, at some point, of course, deteriorate the roof, and all the natural entropies that take place. But yeah, I can't find what's so wrong with Clovis, New Mexico, Cannon Air Force Base. DoorDash is here. They deliver straight to the crib. Like, I don't even gotta leave the bed. I'll be breaking bread constantly. The movie theater is open here. We're wearing no masks in the building as long as you're vaccinated. Every single building, with the exception, I believe, the med group, the hospital, you can wear your mask. You don't have to wear a mask. So you're walking in the commissary, you're walking in the Walmart off base, you're walking in the gym, playing basketball, volleyball. It's almost back to normal somewhat. Obviously, at every base like that, I just drove through California on the way here, and they were just as if the pandemic just kicked off. I'm like, bro, how is it that y'all's humans have different limitations than the other humans? I'm like, we got Air Force bases in other states. Like, y'all's limitations are so deep. I don't know. It's different. It's different. So that's interesting. But yeah, I can't find what's wrong with Cannon. I'm grateful to be here. Obviously, I don't want to be here for longer than I have to. But there are worse places to be stationed. Obviously, if this is your first base, it's a very slow tempo from what I've perceived. Even from a finance perspective, it's very slow tempo compared to other regions of the country and the world, where there's room to breathe, there's room to learn, there's room to ask questions, there's room to meet other people and kind of network and take your time a little bit. Whereas when I went to Andrews, that was my first base, and it was just everything was there was so many officers and just the region, the traffic, the lifestyle of someone who lives in DC. It's different. It's different. It takes some adjustment. So there's those factors to consider. I found a beautiful apartment here. Nothing compared to DC, quality, but for the southwest region of the country, it's not bad at all. I promise you, because I mean, your boy is pretty down to earth in terms of the way I was raised. Like, I wasn't raised with anything fancy. I had to get a job to get anything I wanted. But as it relates to my bouginess that has accrued over time due to constantly exposing myself to it, it's different. And having these amenities that are at least available, that you're gonna pay for it, definitely. Like, my rent here is about $400 over BAH. So, I'm taking the L there. I'm single and no dependent. So I'm definitely paying out of pocket. But of course, we aim to have multiple streams of income, so it's necessary. And of course, we monitor things like AMC and GameStop, and we're grateful. We're grateful for the highs and lows there. But yeah, just want to provide a little update on just kind of how I'm experiencing Cannon Air Force Base. I don't know where it gets. Obviously, it probably was worse historically in terms of maybe things weren't as nice as they are now, and I'm just experiencing the finished product. I'll allow for that. But to date, I can't seem to find what the issue is here in this region. So it's interesting. We'll see how the winter goes. We'll see how the rest of my time here goes, and maybe my thoughts might evolve. But for those who are on their way to Cannon, I just want to give a little bit of perspective as far as what you're coming into as far as 2021 is concerned, so you can have at least what to look at as far as, is it really that bad? I don't think it is, honestly. So there's that update. I did want to provide an update on being a brand new supervisor. It's different. It's different. First of all, I have to publicly apologize to my former supervisors, because I'm sure I was a handful for many different reasons. But now that I have a troop, shout out my boy Lopez, shout out my girl Brooka and Moore and Guerrero, just my little troops. It's interesting. It's a weird dynamic to walk into when you have troops your same age, when you have troops that are married and have children, and you're just walking around, hot boy summer and just doing what you got to do, taking care of business. It's different, when you have people that are kind of different places in life, and in a lot of ways you're responsible for them, at least while they're in the uniform, while they're at work, and then on weekends, of course, when things go wrong, when things, pain plans itself, they check in with you, and they hit you up, and then they let you know you're gonna be late, and they ask you, can they go take care of this, and they got a family emergency, can they go address this, and they'll be in late, and things like that. It's a weird dynamic. I've never been asked before, could someone go home? Like, it's coming from a senior mindset, and I didn't wear it that long before I made staff, but it takes a minute to adjust to someone else asking you for permission. Like, I'm not used to that. Having very intelligent troops, the battle of wits, I enjoy going back and forth, the chess match that does exist, where you have people who, in more or less ways try to outsmart you or try to outwit you, or it's cool. I personally enjoy it. It's definitely enjoyable experience to go back and forth and actually have to think. But ultimately, the point is to help someone get to point A to point B, to ultimately get to where you're at currently. So I'm definitely up for the challenge. But yeah, it hasn't been bad. Did my feedbacks. Things that you learn in ALS, you start to get a chance to apply those things. How to email, how to communicate properly, how to enforce certain standards as opposed to rules. I have videos on that if you're curious what that means. But yeah, I've really had to kind of, it's a thin line between being personable, being approachable, being in a lot of cases, in a lot of ways, a friend, and then at the same time, a supervisor, and then having to get to another point. Like you have to be a leader at some point as well. And it's not all, sunshine, roses, and friendships and warm fuzzies. At some point, you got to lay down a standard as far as what I call killing a hostage the first time. And again, it's a line you don't want to draw. There's a quote that says, "You never." What is that quote? Stand by. You never correct a troop before they're loyal. Is the paraphrased version of that quote. You never correct a troop before they're loyal. Which basically means you need to show some level of approachability. You're establishing trust before you try to establish correction. Before you try to establish discipline, you establish trust first. And trust is not gained overnight. It's usually, it can happen very quickly, honestly. A lot of friends I've made, it happened just because one conversation took place. They said one thing that just happened to click with me on a deep level. And I was like, man, we here, man. You see, we here. It's very important dynamic that you must establish with the troop that I've come to learn. You don't immediately come out just swinging, carrying a big stick, if you will. Sometimes a conversation takes place. Sometimes getting to know someone, asking enough questions, actually learning who this person is that you're talking to, not the uniform, not the rank, not the insignia, but you're talking to the person first and establishing some level of, human interaction that doesn't happen in a military dynamic, but happens on a human to human level. Establishing that first, and then when it comes to the actual work and the environment of the military, that comes later, as far as correction and course correction and discipline and things of that nature. So it's something that I've kind of had to tread lightly on because it's my first time implementing that philosophy. I have a lot of different leadership philosophies that they're not cliche at all. They're practical, they're pragmatic, they're linear. And so I'm taking these thought processes, these philosophies I have, and say, how do I apply this to this person in the way that they can best receive it, that benefits them long term? I'm not just trying to be a short-term, success story. He was my favorite supervisor. I'm trying to leave a lasting impression on this person that leads them to a better place in their family. Because obviously it's not just for them. I think all of my troops, save one, are married with kids. I think one of them doesn't have kids, but the other, out of 5, I believe probably 3 are married and 2 of them have kids. Anyway, the point is that they're in different places in life, and I have to approach each one of them differently. I have to supervise them differently. And the other staff sergeant who's currently out, I have all 5 of the troops right now. So something I never planned for, something you really can't plan for as far as the military environment, times supervision, times dealing with different and older age groups and different places in life. How do you approach all that from a couple of weeks in ALS? It's not designed for that. ALS is meant to kind of capture your mind a bit as far as just instilling a couple of philosophies, in your thought process, so you can at least acknowledge them and then say, all right, now I'm going to go about addressing it this way and using these pieces over here and these resources, and then you move down the path. So yeah, that's my little update on just kind of being a supervisor for the first time. It's different. It's not bad. It's not too much. I think I was more or less prepared for the supervising piece. Maybe not all the other responsibilities that come with it, because it is a lot. It is a lot. I still kind of believe I made rank a little bit too quickly, but I'm here now. So it's something you have to address. Yes, I am still in finance. Good morning, Miracle and Mary. Thank you for joining me this morning. What else we got? So, with respect to Kobe and his family, we have done a disservice. Even though I wanted the Lakers to lose, we still have to deal with the aftermath. We still have to address the obvious and the unacceptable. The Lakers going out in the first round. First time since 2010 that Steph Curry and LeBron are not in the playoffs. I'm not sure if this is acceptable, even in LeBron's 18th year, 36 years old. I'm not sure that that's acceptable on any level. I did not expect him to lose. I wanted him to lose because he's on my Lakers, and I don't want him to catch Kobe. I don't want LeBron getting another ring. I don't want him catching Jordan either, because now we have to reconsider the conversation of who's the GOAT, and it's too much, and I don't want LeBron in that conversation for whatever reason. I tend to be emotional when it comes to my Lakers, Kobe and LeBron. I don't like certain things like that. But I'm happy for Devin Booker. Chris Paul rubs me the wrong way. But I'm happy for Devin Booker for getting his. He's pretty much in the same category as Damian Lillard, who's kind of just been staying the path. I'm not leaving. I'm not jumping around. I'm not joining 10 other All-Stars. I'm staying right where I'm at, and I'm going to grind. I'm going to work. Something you see Giannis doing. I appreciate players like that, especially those who grew up under Kobe supervision. Devin Booker is one of those players that kind of grew up under Kobe's tutelage, and you can see the results from it, because Chris Paul had 8 points, 12 assists last night. Devin Booker had 47 of them things. He came there with some vengeance, bro. So I'm definitely happy for Devin Booker to be going second round. Not sure how far they'll get, because again, nothing is guaranteed at this point, especially in the West. You still got to go through Nuggets, which is the next series. Again, sad that Damian's going home. It's unfortunate. You would think him and CJ could put some work together and get out the West, but yeah, it's not working. Historically, it hasn't worked, and it's not working this series either. So yeah, they're going home too. Damian, he's a bucket. He's a bucket, but again, nothing to show for it in the postseason. So yeah, hopefully we can see some movement around, at least with Portland, and maybe Damian can go team up with Giannis or something and put in some work out there. That would be dope. See Damian and Giannis, or I don't know. I don't know what's necessary at this point, but something has to change, because how many times you gonna go out in the first round, second round, and have a great regular season? Yeah. I mean, it's too much. Yeah, Nuggets got real quiet, low key. Jokic got shut down. His assist numbers dropped immensely. I don't know what they did to him, but they pretty much put him on the island and said, "Bro, we not helping. You gonna do what you gonna do. We're not double teaming. If you gonna get the bucket, you gonna get the bucket." But obviously, he's not a scorer like that. He's more of a facilitator, and they kind of shut that down. But yet, it's still effective, even without Jamal Murray, which is amazing. So obviously, he well deserves the MVP. I don't know how Chris Paul got brought into the conversation of MVP. I don't know how LeBron got brought into it when missing a quarter of the season. Embiid missing a quarter of a season. No. Giannis could have got it. Refs probably could have got it. No. Jokic is the MVP for 2021. I don't think it's close. But yeah, I'm not excited. Again, I'm a Lakers fan, but I'm not a LeBron fan. And it's like being torn in two pieces, seeing my Lakers struggling like this with LeBron. I'm like, ugh, what's the point? What's the point of having LeBron if you're going to go out in the first round? Historically, he's never gone out in the first round until he came to my Lakers. 14-1. The Cavs. And again, this is where the argument comes from as far as LeBron cakewalking to the NBA Finals 6 years, 8 years straight, whatever it is. Of course, he was in the East. And people made the argument, he comes to the West and he keeps doing it. I'm curious to see what's going to happen on First Take and First Things First, as far as hearing Shannon Sharp argue for LeBron and hearing Nick Wright try to excuse himself. I'm like, explain yourself, gentlemen. This is not acceptable. So we'll see how that goes this morning. I'm more than excited to listen to people rationalize. The same thing I hear with Apple and like, oh, this is the reason why we didn't get this on this device, and this is the reason why this is not working, and this is the reason why we're still waiting on this feature when Android's had it for this long. The same thing happened with LeBron. Well, here he didn't have no help, but if he didn't have any help and he made it, y'all would have gave him all the credit. But when he doesn't make it, he doesn't get any fault. It's the supporting cast, which it is. Schroeder, I'm not sure why he was acquired for what. Last game he had 0 points. I'm not sure how many points he had this game, but I'm sure it wasn't substantial. What was the point? Why did they trade Brandon Ingram? They kept Kuzma for what? A dunk a game? It's just Marc Gasol. He should be joining his brother somewhere overseas. Andre Drummond is doing what Andre Drummond historically has done. Dunk. A couple rebounds. That's about it. But yeah, it's been, I mean, AD, of course, hopefully he can take this whole postseason and get his life together. Take this whole postseason, because, I mean, you guys are out early enough, so I don't want to hear no excuses of we had no time, because LeBron showed up in that press conference ready, just ready. We went so far in the playoffs last year that we didn't get no rest when it came to this year. All right, well, you got this whole offseason. So next year, we even though I don't like LeBron, I still expect some work from you, sir. You're arguing to be the GOAT. I expect some hard work from you, sir. So hopefully that's addressed. Miracle says they need to blow the whole team up. Probably. Keep the pillars. Keep LeBron and AD. But maybe a Dame, a Steph. I mean, I kind of foresee that happening anyway, because Steph and LeBron been pillow talking a little bit too much after games. And I'm like, bro, what y'all doing, bro? I would be happy to see Steph come to the Lakers. I will not lie about that. That would probably be dope. And if that did happen, we're looking at Lakers probably getting a couple more rings just off that piece alone. That would be different. That would be different to see Steph and the Lakers playing together. And I mean, after this season, I'm sure LeBron's already on the phone, asking Steph, does he have a preference where he lives in the city, or, does he want to live next door to LeBron, or, rent out a room? So we'll see. Should be interesting this off season to see what happens in free agency and what moves happen and transpire. What else we got? And I saw a couple questions. I'll see if I got a little time to address them. Just want to hit a couple things. The next series, first of all, Knicks going home. So I was glad to see the Knicks make the playoffs, but yeah, that was short lived. Unfortunate, but they didn't really belong in the playoffs. But they had a great regular season. Julius Randle slept on, heavily slept on. I watched him at Kentucky, and I mean, he put work in. Yeah, Schroeder had $100 million, bro. I think he made $80 million. Unacceptable. Like, bro, give me $1 million, bro. I'll give you 10 and 6. But yeah, Knicks going home too. I was happy to see the Knicks in the playoffs. That franchise belongs in the playoffs. New York City should be represented in every playoff series. Like, they need to be accounted for. It's New York, so Knicks going home. And then one of my favorite series to watch, I'll probably be watching some actual games. Giannis versus the Nets. And it's literally Giannis by himself. Drew Holiday, he's a great acquisition over the former point guy. I can't think of his name. Eric Bledsoe. But we'll see. That'd be a great series on how do you defend Giannis. Because I don't think you can. He's fully grown. He eats all 3 meals a day. I'm not sure how you guard him with a Kevin Durant that weighs as much as I do. So we'll see how that goes. Kyrie's going to go off. James Harden definitely has to facilitate. But it'll be a dope series. My prediction, let me see. Who do I see winning? The Bucks and Nets series. This is a hard pick because, I mean, again, you can't. If Giannis goes off every single night, the best bet for the Nets is to stop every other player and keep them from going off. If that is accomplished, the Nets will win. And I mean, the Nets are not the worst defensive team, but they're not the best either. They're not even close to the best. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully, Hopefully, if Giannis can just go off every single night and then get maybe Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday to give them 20 and 6, that might be enough to move them past. But again, the Nets are going to have 25 apiece. You're going to have Kevin Durant get 30, James Harden going to get a triple double, Kyrie going to have 25. I don't know how you stop that consistently. If one player doesn't have enough, the other two will. God forbid all three of them go off. Giannis needs some help. And I don't know if Drew Holiday can cancel out one of the other two stars. No, he can't. He'll probably be guarding Kyrie, but he's going to have his hands full by himself. God forbid Giannis is on KD. He's going to foul out. And nobody's guarding James Harden. So that will be interesting. Miracle says Giannis definitely won't be scared to drive the ball like LeBron in the series. That's what that's what Giannis will be doing. That's all he does for the most part. I saw his mid range, made an appearance shortly, but that wasn't too much to worry about. And his three ball still isn't substantial enough. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm excited to watch the series. I'm excited to see it. If KD just stays consistent, if everybody just stays healthy, I still pick the Nets to win it all. Especially with LeBron out now. I don't know who's stopping them. The Suns are strong, obviously, but again, they beat a AD-less Lakers. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. And yeah, that's really all I want to kind of come on and address is just those couple of topics. Just, get some things off my chest. But yeah, great playoffs this season. I personally enjoy watching the playoffs when there's no LeBron because LeBron makes everything kind of predictable. And this is the first season that I've ever seen that was just first round, bro. First round? I don't know. But if I had a choice in the matter, well, first of all, we got to talk about the Clippers real quick. First of all, we got to address the Clippers real quick. They're going home. So, pack those bags. They're going home at the hands of the Mavericks, which is different. It's different. I'm not sure if that's allowed to happen. Are the Mavericks allowed to send the Clippers home in the first round? After every single team, including the Vegas odds makers, keeps picking the Clippers to win games, to win it all, and they're going home in the first round? There's a lot of upsets this year. It's like March Madness. I don't know if this is allowed to happen. Like maybe we can talk to the commissioner and see if we broke any rules with sending the supposedly great teams home in the first round. I don't know if that's is that in the rule book where a great team can go home in the first round? Are we breaking rules by allowing this to happen? That's my question. I don't know. It's amazing to watch and observe this transpire. But if I had my choice in terms of who would win it all, I would want Giannis to get his. Giannis. Ever since I watched his old videos of like when he was 18 coming in the league and he just said, I just want to play in the league. I want to be relevant. It's basically what he alluded to. I want Giannis to get his. But of course, he has a long road ahead in terms of the team he has to go through. If he gets through the Nets, he'll win. But I don't see that happening. The Nets are not supposed to lose. With a roster like that, you're not supposed to lose a game. You will win, you will lose a couple games, but you're not supposed to lose a series at all. And of course, so far, it's looking easy for them. So hopefully they stay healthy. Hopefully they get all the way. But I would prefer Giannis get his, so we can take that off his head and let him just play now. You got your ring, cool. But of course, he's gonna need some help. He's gonna need a Damian or a Steph or like somebody that actually controls the ball most of the time and he plays off the ball. Because dunking, unless you're Shaq, you're not winning a series. You're not winning a championship off purely dunking. The Clippers tried it already. Chris Paul, DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, they tried it already. It doesn't work. You can't just dunk your way to a championship. It's mostly threes and defense, rebounding that wins championships historically. So I don't know. That's all question in here. Octavio had a question about dating. I don't know if you have a more specific question considering dating. I'll be checking the chat for your question. Dating's interesting. Dating is very interesting. It seems to be broken in 2021, and it's why I don't tend to engage with a lot of the rhetoric and the goings on, all these different extremes trying to fix a simple problem. The problem seems to be very simple. Obviously, it's complex in terms of humans and how we interact and how intelligent we are. We seem to be, we have all this capacity for intelligence, but yet we use a fraction of it, which is interesting. I'll wait for Octavio to follow up, but I think little doggy had a question. Good morning. Question: role of a wife, mother, role of a husband and father. I know you made a video regarding fathers, but deeper details wanted. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to answer this question at all, because I have an answer for it, but I'm not sure I'm going to answer it in uniform or at all. There's a quote that I live by. It's night over there in Japan. Okay. There's a quote I live by: knowing the truth makes you a threat. Speaking the truth makes you a target. And at this point in my life, I'm not sure I want to be a target at this point. Little doggy, if you want to talk offline, we can talk offline. But yeah, I'm not going to answer that currently right now. We'll save that for later. What else we got? So back to dating advice. Dating advice is a little more easier to address. Not so much easier because I have an answer for both. But yeah, timing, wisdom, all those things control what I do daily. And so I'm going to stand by on that. But yeah, general dating advice. One thing I've noticed is that entitlement has taken the place of vulnerability in our dating proceedings. No relationship will work without vulnerability. Define vulnerability. Vulnerability is giving someone the opportunity to hurt you, but trusting them not to. It's impossible to have a relationship without trust, which makes you and requires you to be vulnerable, because trust must be tested. Trust is relative to one's opportunity to betray you. You have to you have to test someone's trust. I don't think a lot of people want to believe that. This is my personal philosophy, and again, I don't speak for the Air Force in any capacity. I'm about to go to work, so maybe I was flawed in my decision making to make this video while uniform. Anyway, trust must be tested. It must be tested. That's why you have trust falls. You're testing someone's willingness to be loyal. Not their ability, their willingness. You don't truly know someone. This is a personal quote of mine, so please quote your boy. You don't truly know someone until they have the opportunity to benefit by hurting you. I'll say it again. You do not truly know someone until they have the opportunity to benefit by hurting you. The perfect example would be divorce court. It's an obvious example. You can search in your phone right now, divorce trauma, divorce proceedings, divorce celebrities, and you'll just see how someone now has the opportunity to hurt someone else, and they benefit from that. And now they have to choose whether or not they're going to engage. How do you overcome that? You can't. You're now stuck in a position where someone else's free will is now relevant. And you're choosing between, do I let them hurt me, or do I put up the walls that keep them out but also imprison me at the same time? That's the issue with putting up emotional walls and defensive walls and not letting someone get close to you, is that yes, it keeps them out, but it also keeps you in. You don't benefit from that. And relationship is impossible without risking something, namely vulnerability. If you can't be vulnerable, you won't have a relationship. You can't run a relationship off purely knowledge. I have so much knowledge about Kobe, and he doesn't know I exist. That's not a relationship. It's unacceptable. I can watch every movie by Halle Berry, read her biographies and everything she's ever read and written and acted in, and she doesn't know I exist. That's not a relationship. That's stalking. That's purely knowledge. Relationships require vulnerability. They require trust that must be tested, which means the opportunity must be presented to someone. I'm not saying you set someone up for that. I'm not saying you put somebody in a position to take an L or to betray you. But usually there's an event eventually that comes on the horizon that says, you have a choice to make here. Am I faithful? Am I loyal? Or do I betray someone? And usually the caveat is, or the major catalyst, if you will, is whether or not they benefit from betraying you. And there are plenty of events where someone can benefit from betraying you and they have to say no in order to keep that trust, that loyalty, that relationship intact. This is my personal philosophy. I believe in starting everyone at ground zero in terms of I study human nature and what you all have the capability of doing. I say personally that everyone is out to get me. Everyone will hurt me. And I like to be surprised by their kindness. So most people like to give everybody a clean slate and give everybody the benefit of the doubt and say, I'm going to trust you up front and until you give me a reason not to trust you. Well, you're going to be surprised by betrayal when you shouldn't be, because betrayal historically is normal. It's the default. Whereas I go into relationships saying, I know you have the potential to hurt me here, here, here. I'm going to give you the opportunity to do it because I'll be vulnerable. And then when you don't betray me, I'm surprised by kindness. It's the exact opposite. I'd rather be surprised by kindness than be surprised by betrayal, when historically betrayal is all there is. People leave jobs. People leave basketball teams. People leave NFL teams. People think that you should just be loyal to until you die. Where's the evidence for that? Where does that happen in the real world, where someone is loyal from the beginning and they do not change? You don't see that. So the number one variable that I track in terms of a relationship is someone willing to be vulnerable? Am I willing to be vulnerable? Of course, accountability is the number one thing I have to start with in everything I engage in. Accountability. Am I wrong? Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Am I meeting them halfway? And then beyond that, you look at, is someone being vulnerable? Is their entitlement in place of vulnerability? Do they deserve I don't understand the concept of I deserve another human being. That doesn't make sense. This is why I have to define words. What does it mean to deserve a relationship? What did you do to earn that? That doesn't make sense to me. The phrase, I will not settle for less than I deserve. What does that mean? Define each one of those words and then put it in the context of the meaning of the sentence. You're speaking gibberish. That's crazy to me, right? How do you deserve another human being? They have free will just like you do. The human you desire a relationship with has a preference just like you do, which means they can say yes or no, just like you can say yes or no. How do you deserve them? It's my opinion, and there's plenty of evidence for it, that you currently have what you deserve. If you deserved it, you should have it, right? Simple question I always ask, if you say you deserve the following, why don't you have it? If you deserve a good relationship, why don't you have it? Where is it? It's yours. It belongs to you. Why don't you have it? Who took it? Where did it go? Where is you deserve the promotion? Where did it go? It went to someone else? I thought you deserved it. I struggle to use the word deserve in my daily life. I don't know where it goes. The closest thing the closest word to deserve that I think might apply to my life is earn. You have what you earn, you have what you deserve. Usually there's a contract in place in terms of an agreement that says what you deserve. That's why we have contracts. But even a contract has to be enforced. So again, when it comes to relationship, you can't use the word deserve in a context of relationship and not override someone else's free will to choose. But yeah, I'll leave that there. There's plenty of philosophies I have regarding relationships. I could talk about it endlessly. But yeah, I'm never without disappointment as I just kind of read social media and I just go from, I study everything. And so as I just observe the world I live in, and you'll see a controversial post go up and I'll just go through in the comments and I'll just see people actually believe wrong information willingly. People are being wrong and don't care. I'm like, that's your business. It doesn't bother me that you're wrong. A lot of people are wrong about AMC. So the people that are winning don't care. The people that are winning do not care that you're wrong about AMC. GameStop. Go be wrong. You'll learn over time when you're wrong, and it usually comes in the form of regret. And then you'll be upset, which that's your business. That's your business. Anyway, let's get some of these comments. Who is this in this chat? Oh, Gelati, I see you. What do the Bucks do differently, which might have dividends relatable to life, even to stretch that to relationships? Maybe if I was to perceive what you're alluding to, and please don't leave me in the dark, just tell me, because I'll pick a tangent and just go on with it. They were quiet this season. They were very quiet this season. The Nets were the favorite, and which made them underdogs, which you can see how that gives you the advantage in terms of there's no pressure on you when you're not the favorite. The pressure's on the Nets. The pressure's on the Lakers, defending champs. So you kind of see how, as it relates to life and relationships, it's much easier to work and grind when no one has the spotlight on you. There's no pressure. I have nothing to lose right now. Nothing. Anything I gain is a plus. So I'm not sure exactly what you're alluding to, but I can draw some parallels from the Bucks this season. Hope you're doing well, man. Hope you're doing well. I know we haven't talked in a minute, but that's my guy. In a lot of ways, responsible for this. Show some love. Little doggy, if you're referring to the what I was talking about, the betrayal piece, another example of someone having an opportunity to benefit from hurting you, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. A simple robbery is an example. There's an opportunity to benefit by hurting you. Anytime somebody benefits by doing something that hurts you, that's usually broken trust at some point. That's why we lock our doors, because we would like to see the best in human beings and say, oh, humans are good and we all mean well, we all have good hearts. But why do you lock your door at night? Why do you have a car alarm? Why do you have a passcode on your phone? It's because innately, by default, you do not trust people. It's simple. That's why we have a military. Because as much as we go to these UN meetings and we have a Secretary of State going over and trying to create bridges and build bridges and try to meet in the middle somewhere and compromise, and we're gonna have these treaties and these agreements, the underlying tension is that if y'all cross us, we're gonna bring work with us. We're gonna send for you if you break these following standards. Don't do it. A contract is proof of distrust. It's evidence for distrust. The fact that we know one day we're going to disagree and we have to have something written in place because we can't communicate properly as humans. We need a piece of paper or a judge to stand in the gap because we can't communicate. If there's a contract in any relationship you have, the underlying foundation is distrust automatically. I don't make the rules. That's why we have contracts, is because we know one day. Contract is another word for a disagreement. If you agree, you don't need anything. You don't need any paper if you agree on everything. That's why a friend that won't disagree with you is the most dangerous person in your life right now. The person that will not disagree with you is the most dangerous person in your life, because you're walking around just with yes men, yes women, just yes, you're right. No, you did nothing wrong. Don't change anything. You're right. It's perfect. You're perfect. Nothing's wrong with you. Don't change. Don't evolve. Don't grow. Don't take accountability. You're fine as you are right now today. Don't change anything. But you'll notice that only your pets will treat you like that. Only your pets see you exactly the way you are and don't care. Humans? No. No. So, yeah. Innately, there's underlying distrust between humans. And that's why we have contracts. It's why we have to have judges and lawyers involved in simple business transactions. It's because someone is going to try to get over when they can. When the opportunity arises, they're going to slip right in that little loophole, that gray area, and they're going to try to live there. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. That's Balance asks, what are your thoughts? What time is it? Yeah. What are your thoughts on leaving a high-paying blue-collar job for normal work hours in the Air Force? One thing that the Air Force offers is security, more or less. The Air Force offers security. A high-paying job most likely can fire you at will. If you read your contract, read in fine print, or if you don't have a contract, if you're not on salary, the risk is inherent. It's consistent. It's continuous. The military, you're on contract for a certain amount of years, so at least you know how many years you have to get paid. The predictability, the resources, the benefits of the military, in most cases, are unmatched. You will struggle to find the benefits of an entry-level paying job that the military offers you. Like, everything is paid for. Everything, and unless it's a bill that you create yourself, everything is paid for. So there are plenty of benefits as far as, high-paying job, and of course there are plenty of jobs that make more money than me. Plenty of jobs, but how many of them have the security I have? We just went through a pandemic. I don't think anybody was as relaxed as the military environment because we're used to turbulence. We're used to it. They can tell us tomorrow you're deploying. Let go. I'm stationed at an FSOC base, special operations. They have 72-hour bags, 48-hour bags, 24-hour bags. At any moment, go. They can tell me tomorrow, Brett, I know it's your weekend, Brett. Don't worry about that. Grab you a duffel bag, go to the plane. It's normal. So obviously COVID affected a lot of different people, and financially and medically, and a lot of people lost their lives. It's unfortunate. But when it comes to simply financially speaking, there's a lot of security that the military offers. Now, it will lull you to sleep. Trust me. I've made videos on how the military, it's a very comforting environment financially because it's meant to be, because you have other things to worry about. So they don't want you worrying about your finances when you have bigger and better things to be worrying about. But yeah, it can lull you to sleep that you'll just be expecting a check, first 15, every single month, nonstop. To where when you get back to the civilian world and you realize, all right, now the risk that I once didn't have is now back on the table, and I have to live with this every single day. They can tell me today I'm fired without notice. Then you have to worry about those type of things. And of course, they got severance and all these different things, but not every job offers severance. Some jobs just say, hey, don't come in. You good. No, you good. We'll call you. We'll call you. You don't worry about it, right? We'll call you. So, yeah. Military offers stability, and in a lot of cases, it's unmatched in the civilian world. So, hope that helps. Try to get to all these. I gotta go. Little doggy, you be asking all these greedy questions. Can you discuss about being a target for speaking the truth? I pretty much covered it. It's pretty simple. Probably the best analogy would be someone who works at the NSA, CIA, FBI, pretty much any intelligence agency. If you know the truth at any time, I mean, you might be under an NDA, or it might be under some type of, you will not talk about this. You do not talk, like, this is need to know. This is top secret. This is secret. This is whatever. Don't tell anybody about this, and this, and this. This is OPSEC. This is operational security. Don't talk about it. You're a threat at any moment to go talk about what you know. But the second you do talk about it, now you're a target. When he out there running his mouth about what? That over there? Go get him. Don't worry about it. Go get him. Sometimes what you know, it just puts you on a list of names that are at any moment they could betray us. But we're kind of betting on the fact that, all right, we got this NDA in place, we got lawyers in place, we got security forces ready to go pick them up, we got OSI kind of monitoring from a distance, we got federal agencies just on standby, just watching. It's those type of things that's probably the best analogy to talk about this. So you see other people that And the best example is cancel culture, where you see people out and just making statements, just talking about stuff they ain't got no business talking about, just talking, which is fine. Freedom of speech, liberty of speech. But again, you're taking that risk of knowing the truth, which is just thinking, which is what I do. I think, and I know things. But the second I say something, that's when you've entered the world of consequences. So a lot of people think that, and they constantly reference, I got freedom of speech. Well, that's true. You can say whatever you want, but there are still consequences that follow. You can do whatever you want. There are consequences that follow. So a lot of people just kind of forget the wisdom point is you can do and say whatever you want to do on this planet Earth. But if you take the L that follows it, don't be surprised. So hope that kind of explains a little bit more. What else we got? Alan Ballrim asks, how long you been in the Air Force? I've been in a little over 4 years, almost 5 years at this point. It'll be 5 in August. All right, cool. Just want to come on real quick. Didn't want to be on too long. Quick little hour stream for the weekend. Might get on tomorrow. We'll see. Appreciate everybody joining me this morning. Yeah, little doggy, if you want to talk offline, we can talk about those other questions you had. I do have opinions on them, but wisdom requires me to just say no in certain moments. So, yeah, we'll come back to that. But yeah, great stream. Appreciate everybody joining in, and